Hello and welcome to Really No Really with Jason Alexander and Peter Tilden. In today's episode, you'll meet an influencer whose millions of followers tune in to watch him scam the scammers. And you'll learn about the never-before-revealed technology he developed. Plus, you'll meet his wife, who it turns out is actually Jason Alexander. Really. No, really. We'll also discuss why vengeance feels so good, and why movie studios think that vigilantes should be members of the AARP. Now here are your hosts, who also more than qualify for the AARP, Jason Alexander and Peter Tilden.
Really? No, really? Really? No, really? Really?
Well, whether you want it or not, we're back, folks. This is Really No Really. I am Jason Alexander, and sitting to my immediate right,
Peter Tilden.
Peter Tilden.
And happy to be here. And with us today is a guest who, the Really No Really is, really, there are scammers who are scamming the scammers. We did not know this, but then again, in the technological world,
we don't know anything.
We don't know much.
We know nothing. You do know that scamming is a plague. I am privy to it all the time. I get calls about how a car I don't own, the warranty is running out. I get things on my phone that says your account is being deleted if you don't tap this right now. I know well enough to not get involved, but it is relentless. It happens all the time, and people have it far worse than I do, where they get, phone
and there's
calls.
billions. It's a billion, maybe even $1 trillion industry. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the people who do stand up. What kind of personality stands up to injustice? Is it you or me?
In this kind of injustice, I wouldn't know where to begin.
All right, so let's say hi to our guest. Our guest is Kitboga, who's a superstar
Which, by the
in
way,
this world.
not his real name.
Right, and he
Not his real name.
wearing sunglasses.
Although I'm imagining Kitboga, it's probably something like Kit. Kit is going to be short for something like Christopher, or sometimes a Kit. Boga might be a...
Saying no.
No? All right.
No.
All right. It's an anagram for something
Where did
else.
the Kitboga come? How did you come up with
Wait,
Kitboga?
introduce the man
You
first.
said Kitboga. You interrupted. You started
You didn't
guessing
give
what
him
his real
credit.
name
Nobody
is.
knows. They have no reference.
Here's Aaron Schlossberg. It goes by Kitboga,
AKA.
Kitboga. He's got, how many followers do you have now on your channel?
I don't keep track. I know
He does, by the way, doesn't keep track.
cumulatively.
He's way above that. He's not
4
into those
million.
petty things.
4 million.
4 million.
All right. You'll let them know that.
Yeah, when I have 4 million, I won't keep track of it.
Yeah, don't keep track. I guess anything over 3 million, you go, okay. Tell them that you're on. And he's got videos on YouTube. You can't
I've
believe
seen.
of him.
Yes.
The intent is to waste scammers' time, have them give up. He also has closed down bank accounts, and I know you're working on some new stuff, new technology that's AI driven, and you got a team working with you, whatever. So welcome to the show. Thank you for being on.
And by the way,
you.
let me tell you, starting right off, for those watching on YouTube, the sunglasses, perfect disguise. If this guy was my best friend, if he's my brother, I wouldn't know who that was. I wouldn't know who he was. It's fantastic.
It's like a Clark Kent thing.
His anonymity is the key to what he does.
If I did what you did, everybody from high school would go, that's Peter Tilden.
Right.
I know this guy.
Do you not get outed or nobody
funny,
bothers?
A couple of years back, I stream this live sometimes on Twitch, and I went to a big convention for Twitch streamers, and if I had my glasses on, people knew who I was. So if I wanted to get across the convention hall, I would just take my glasses off, and no one had any idea who I
He's
was.
Clark Kent. He's Clark Kent and Superman.
So we're finding out in the tech world,
Yeah, genius.
not Mensa.
where I'm a little weak.
Exactly. So let's start. I know the story, but why don't you tell it? How you got started, because your grandmother was scammed, correct?
Yeah, so my both grandparents had dementia and Alzheimer's as they got older. And, I'm not sure if they got scammed by a tech support scammer per se, but they had all sorts of telephone scams and everything you could think of. At the time, I remember one time we went to visit her, and she had these rose bushes, this beautiful garden that she took care of. And there was a gardener, like, in her front yard in real life, taking her rose bushes out and putting them in the back of his trailer. And I remember thinking, that's strange. And I asked her about it, and she said, he said they're diseased or something, and like, I got to get rid of them. But it was just this dude taking her rose bushes, probably to, I don't know if he was going to try to sell them or use them somewhere else. She had multiple cable packages, multiple phone lines, multiple internet plans, which those are just scummy sales guy selling her things she doesn't need. But it was this realization that, man, if my grandma was still around the first time I ever heard one of these tech support scammers, I knew that she would have fallen for it, and she would have had no clue what was going on, and she would have said, this is actually Microsoft.
Right.
That was kind of the big catalyst.
So you jumped in and you created this persona. And if you look at the videos, it looks like, because you're almost like an improv actor. You enjoy keeping these people on. And what's the longest you've kept somebody on so far?
Well, all in one shot, maybe like 6 hours, but over the course of multiple calls, something like 52 hours of phone calls.
Yeah, well, the one that I watched was this guy with a clearly East Indian accent who was presenting himself as Joe Biden, and
yes.
Really?
Yes.
And that got into some sort of
time.
Bitcoin scam, I guess is what that was all about. But
Jeez.
that was, and it was clear that what I was watching was happening over weeks, or, you know. So.
And we were sure it was not Biden.
Happened over. Well, eventually we figured out that it wasn't Biden. Yes, and that's not the first time that I've had a scammer pretend to be the president, or we've had them do all kinds of crazy situations. So to back up a little. When I first started doing this, it was like an adventure. I had no idea what I was doing. I picked up a phone call or picked up my phone and I tried to find a tech support scammer because I had heard about it. I saw some recording of it's called Hey, It's Lenny. It's this recording of an older gentleman that they would play for telemarketers. And it was a recording of him talking to a tech support scammer. I'm like, what's a tech support scammer? There's no such thing as tech support scammers. And then it took me maybe 5 minutes to find a phone number to call. And I picked it up and I called. And this guy tells me, yes, I'm from Microsoft. You have viruses on your computer. Let me connect and fix it. And I hung up because I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
What else? But I remember just running upstairs and saying to my wife, oh my gosh, there are these scammers. They're everywhere. I gotta do something about it. Right. But in the beginning, it was just me doing my voice. I didn't really know what I was doing. I had a fake computer, a virtual computer that I would let them on. But then after 10 or 15 minutes, they would usually hang up. And I realized, well, if I do something to my voice and I sound a little bit older or whatever, now the scammers think I'm a better target.
Right. And
as time progressed, we kind of honed in on being able to take them down some crazy stories for sure.
Kit, what? Just because it hit me in the head like a brick. What is a virtual computer? What's a fake computer?
Good. I'm glad you asked because I just say it, and So, a virtual machine is another way to describe it. But I kind of have a computer inside of my computer, or think of like a sandbox or another. It's a whole other place. So it looks like Windows, and it essentially is Windows. But if the scammers delete all of my files, which they do all the time, or upload a virus or something like that, I can just turn that computer off and start over afresh like nothing ever happened. It's like a...
Wow. Is that...
Yeah.
Do you have to... I'm a moron with computers. Is that a... That sounds like something everybody should have, right? I mean...
Ooh, good. It's a bummer that you can't really do that with your everyday computer, but usually they're used for more like just in the development world or in the cloud, or I have a background in software engineering, so it was something that I just knew about.
Yeah. I had 3 years of theater training at Boston University, so I feel you and I can talk pretty much on the same level.
You learned a lot about computers there. I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And psychology degree here, so
especially since it was in the 80s.
We're out with my psychology degree. Jason and I, as far as tech, we go, hello, help me.
Yeah,
help
I know
me.
to call a guy.
So
That's
you're
what I know.
obviously tech savvy. Have you ever gotten close? Because you're dealing with some really bad guys. I mean, and if you listen again, you should go online and listen to some of his calls, because there's an entertainment value to this that's huge. You have millions of people watching you do it. So there's also some catharsis that people feel because you're doing stuff that they guess that law enforcement can't do, the government can't do, because these scams are so prevalent, they don't have the time, et cetera. So these guys are so good, though. Have you ever gotten scared where you went, uh-oh, this guy has infiltrated and is smart, and I think I may be at risk here?
It definitely early on. This was probably 2017 was when I really started. Remember, there was a day where these scammers had logged into their PayPal account on my virtual computer, and I don't know if they just forgot that they were on my computer, because if you don't know this, a lot of times they will connect to your personal computer using some kind of virtual or like a remote control software, so they can give you support from another place. Well, maybe they got mixed up and they're logging into their company's PayPal on my computer. Well, I can just cut them off. So I disconnected their connection, and I'm thinking, oh, well, now I have access to their, like, all of their finances. Maybe I can refund people or contact PayPal. But foolish me, being new at this, I said, oh, you made a big mistake. Like, on the phone, I just said, like, you guys messed up. I'm on your account. And they started saying, like, I know exactly who you are. I know where you live. I have your IP address. You made a mistake too. I'm going to come get your kids. And I have kids. And the things that they're saying were very vague, but they would say, like, I know that you have a laptop, which I wasn't using a laptop, but I did have a laptop next to me. And at the time I remember being like, oh no, I've made a mistake. I literally hung up the phone, tried calling like the FBI, some local field office, and I'm calling the police thinking they're going to come take a hit on me. But then I realized they were just nervous and trying to make me scared. They had no clue what they were talking about.
Right.
And now that I've done this for a while, I've kind of realized most of the individuals I talk to are kind of low on the rung of these organizations, and they're like kids out of college trying to make a way in the scam world or whatever it would be. But it's not this mafia crime lord.
You're not talking to
situation.
Don Corleone.
And thank goodness for that. And to that point, so what can you do as you navigate this legally? You can't turn on somebody's camera to see what they're doing. I mean, what's the line ethically that you decide, or does the law decide for you what you can do or can't do to these people?
To retaliate?
I know sometimes, I think I read that you refunded people some money. Like, how do you vet this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I've tried to stay pretty on the, what would you say, correct side of the law.
Yeah.
Right? And it's different in every state. It's different in every country, right? So it can be tricky. It's also, I've talked to various lawyers over the years about it, and they tell me that it's a literal gray area. Like, there's some of this stuff.
Yeah, well, you're
the precedent that they have.
You're a vigilante.
I was going to say you're borderline or over the border vigilantism, which technically is not legal. So,
sure.
So
personally,
so what you can do before somebody goes, no, I've got you now, because you just crossed the line.
I've tried to stay pretty clear on the side of, well, basically every state and every country has a law about accessing someone's computer without their consent, right? So I don't do that. I don't connect to their computer because I clearly don't have their consent, right? There's things like that. Well, could I upload some kind of backdoor malware to get inside of their computer, even though that's not my expertise? Sure, I probably could, or I could have a friend help me do that, but I don't, because technically that's illegal for me. And it's just one of those, well, it's a gray area, maybe, because you could say, well, the guy's a criminal. What's he going to do? Come sue you?
Yeah.
Like, what? But I just have stayed away from that. And I found that there's other ways that I can still be effective in trying to, like, gather information. So I kind of hack them mentally, that sounds maybe bad, but like social engineering is the term. So if you could imagine, if playing an older character and they really think that I'm the perfect victim, they're going to ask me to wire money to their bank account. And then they're going to give me their bank account. And sometimes they'll give me multiple bank accounts or addresses or all kinds of Bitcoin wallets and things that then I can turn over to law enforcement or bank fraud people. And then they can do whatever they need to do.
Right.
And they have the legal ability to do it. So
you just facilitate that. Now, I know, because I talked to your manager briefly, he said you created this AI using AI now. We started by saying you kept people on the phone for 2 hours. Now you have the ability to keep somebody on almost indefinitely if they'll stay on, correct? With this like Gauntlet that you created.
Yeah. So this is actually, I don't think I've talked about it before. And there's no YouTube videos about it yet. So soon I will probably put this out there. I think what he may have been referring to is something that I call the Gauntlet, because I don't know what else to call it. But it's a kind of like a trap where the scammers. Let me back up for a sec. So lately, the scammers want me to pay with Bitcoin. I say me, but I play the victim, right? I call up, I fall for their scam, and then they'll say, go take some money out of your bank, go to a Bitcoin ATM. I don't know if you know much about those.
No.
I literally have never even seen one physically in real life.
Wow.
But they do exist. So you go to this gas station. It's kind of like an ATM machine. You put cash in it, and you can purchase Bitcoin and send it to anyone essentially instantly. And now the scammers have your money. So at the end, you get a receipt, and the scammers want that receipt because it has some proof or sometimes a QR code that they can scan, and now they have your money. So we thought, what if we fake this receipt, like we Photoshop a fake looking receipt, and that QR code is actually just a link to our website. And the 1-800 number on the receipt is actually just my 1-800 number with an AI like system that would talk to them. And so we made this whole essentially fake company that makes it look like you are getting Bitcoin, but in reality, you're just wasting your time.
Wow. That is fantastic. And I'm fascinated, but I have to go back one step.
Sure.
You have a manager? What am I missing?
He's got a team.
What, do you get bookings? What are you doing, commercials and speaking engagements? And what does your manager manage? What the hell?
I think, by the way, scam baiting may be more lucrative than scamming,
what I'm doing.
Than what you're doing.
What is your manager managing, if I may ask?
It's honestly, no, that's fine. Sometimes I even feel silly when I first started doing this. I remember telling my parents about it, and they were kind of like, "Are you sure you?" Because I did software, and
sure.
That's a great living, right? And they're like, "So you're gonna call people on the phone and make videos? Like that doesn't make any sense." But it's grown to the point where we just, between editing all of the videos, coming up with ideas for the videos, and then building these tools. So we haven't really talked about it, but I have to have a fake bank account because the scammers want to get on my bank, and I'm not going to use my real bank.
Sure.
So we've had to create our own banks or things that mimic real banks, or we have to make it so we have this.
Well, hold on. How do you create a fake bank? Is it Wells Fargo? I mean, how do you do a fake bank?
I understand why he needs a lawyer. I still don't understand why he needs a manager, but okay.
The manager, I'll quickly answer the manager question, then we can talk about the bank. It's just grown so much to where we have a team of people. I'm not a manager. I'm a goofy guy who, I like improv and coming up with crazy ideas.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how to manage people. I don't know how to keep track of business things, right? Lawyers, meetings, all that stuff. I'll just get trapped. Well, I say trapped. I have fun getting sucked into this all-day conversation with a scammer, and I'm missing my meetings with lawyers or this type of engagement. So he's reminding me.
You know, it'd be
hey,
amazing. If
So
in the
you don't have a manager, you have a nanny, is what you're saying.
No, he's got a team of people. He's got a team of people. The weird thing would be,
I
after
mean, no,
years,
I could use a nanny myself. I understand, but I'm just saying.
after
Yes.
years of figuring
Yeah.
out how to scam scammers,
Yeah.
he's losing all his money to a terrestrial team. They're taking his money, spending it,
Yeah.
running with cars.
Yeah, tell the
It's
guy-
completely
tell
good.
the guy
What do
this
you
is
mean
what
I have
we're
no
doing.
money?
That'd be wild.
I have no
Yeah.
money. So let
Wow.
me, because you're good and because I don't know what your future is, and I don't mean you don't have a future. I don't know if you want to do this forever. I don't know if people are going to be tuning in forever. But because you do characters, and I know you do Edna, an older woman, Verna, Matilda, I'm going to offer you something right now. I don't know how well-to-do you are, but this man sitting next to me is a acting teacher. And I don't even think that Kitboga money could afford Jason Alexander as an acting teacher. But because he's here, if I ask him nicely, to give you some advice, do a character for him, and maybe he can give you some insight into how to make the characters more believable, how to give it a little more depth. Okay, so Jason, is that okay? Will you do
since
that?
you asked,
Absolutely,
I mean,
sure.
he
I
has
can't
to say
mention
yes
who he
now.
who he
Sure.
coaches because of HIPAA laws.
And I'll give you my fake bank that you can remunerate.
I was gonna say, if you want to amp it up a level too, it would take me literally 30 seconds to call a scammer, and then we would have a scammer on the line as well.
Of course, no, we don't have time for that. You don't be stupid, okay? It's like your parents when you told them I'm going to make phone calls. Now they go, you know what my kid does? Makes a lot of money making
You know, if we
phone
call
calls.
a scammer, I'm going to play his mother.
Oh, Jason, can Jason do the scammer? Oh, wait, Jake can. Let's see your characters, and then we'll call a scammer, and maybe
Yeah.
Jason can
If you want
participate.
to.
Yes,
All
okay.
right.
I'm
Oh,
not putting you on the
yeah.
spot.
Yes, on the spot.
All right, so who's one of your characters?
Yeah,
if I call up and I go, hello, who am I speaking with?
I mean, one of the main ones is Edna, which I have to pitch shift my voice.
Yes.
So it's higher pitched, and then I make it behind a filter,
Mm-hmm,
so
sure.
it sounds like an older phone.
Or I can just
I kind of pretend like I don't have gums,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
or
Yeah.
I only have gums, and I'll talk
Right.
like this the whole time.
Uh-huh.
That's Edna.
Well, let me just say
Or-
right off the bat, if I may, you're working from the outside in, not the inside out. So, you know, you're affecting a physical change, but I don't know who Edna is. Do you understand what I'm saying?
oh good.
Who
I
is
totally yes.
Edna?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit
Yes.
about Edna.
Well, I have a cat. I have a cat named Mr. Whiskers.
Okay, you took
I
a little
almost
time there
forgot his
coming up
name.
with Mr. Whiskers. Edna would know Mr. Whiskers in a heartbeat. She doesn't have that kind of
Yep.
dementia. So first of all, get your story straight. Do you have a sheet, a cheat sheet where you write down the important facts? Do you have like a character
Kind
Bible?
of.
A character biography?
I do. I used to because I.
What was
I do-
Edna's
I had,
mother's name? Maiden name? See, you
no
paused.
idea.
You paused. That's the kind of thing I'm
and by the way, as
talking
soon as
about.
you give it to us, we
Let
got
me
your
ask you
login. We got your
something.
login.
What did Edna have for breakfast today?
A prune smoothie.
Okay, that was pretty good. That's pretty good.
very
It's
good.
specific and
It's
it was
funny.
quick. That was good.
The Edna, I don't play her as much because she was so like I think she became so
Hey, Boga, may
Well,
I say
no,
something right
she
now?
became
If I was your
popular
parent,
already.
I'm playing parent now. Enough with the excuses. Give us another character.
okay. That's what I was gonna say.
He's already with the thumping, and I didn't this,
So
but I used to have a sheet.
He's
It's
making
like-
excuses.
He's making
right?
excuses.
Yeah.
Go ahead, another character.
I'm honest. This is Rich. My name's Richard Andrews. I'm the CEO of Crow Pro. It's a brand new AI-powered tool that allows you to identify the crows in your backyard. It's going to change the world.
Okay, is that something you would actually say to her? Because let me just say, as a reasonably intelligent person, I already don't buy your premise. See, this is the kind of
Joe
thing.
Biden
Kid,
did.
we
Joe
have to.
Biden did.
Joe Biden did buy it. Well, you know, what can I say about Sleepy Joe?
All right, let's try one more. Give us one more character, and then we'll do the call. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Are you benefiting
I
from
mean-
this? Do you understand what we're giving you here? This is not
No,
Bitcoin. This is
I-
gold.
I'd have to ask my manager. I have no idea.
Callback joke. Okay.
I mean, this was the first character I probably had. I just tried to do some kind of strange.
Sure.
Southern
Where's he
accent,
from?
and
Where's that guy from?
Yeah, Louisville, Kentucky.
Wrong.
My mother
Wrong.
used to say,
Wrong. That's not a Kentucky dialect. So you didn't study.
"I have no clue."
Yeah,
what
you
it
didn't
is."
study at all. And this is what I mean. People think they're actors.
Kids today.
You know, people think that this is just, make a voice, change your voice with a machine. They don't understand the work, the background, the effort, the thought. What's your intention? What's your objective?
There you go.
What's your super objective?
I hope you appreciate all this. You know, what'd be funny? What'd be funny is watching after he enacts
Yeah.
what you've taught him,
Yeah.
all his numbers go into the
Down,
toilet.
down.
Totally
Yeah,
down.
he
All right, let's
wants-
make the
Yeah,
call. Let's make the call. Now,
Yeah,
can
let me,
Jason be on the call with you? Can Jason do a character?
Yes, I told you it would take 30 seconds. It might take me like a minute. So
All right,
could
we
talk
got
Take
a
a
about it.
minute.
What the hell would
Take a
happen?
minute and a half. Where are we going?
Yeah.
I will say, admittedly, to a lot of what ends up happening is I tell people, to me, it's like a playground where I know what the line is sometimes with the scammers. So I know that I can't say that I'm inventing a new cryptocurrency called Crow Coin
Right.
or whatever, but I do it anyway because I'm curious to see
What
will
they'll
they
do.
put up with it.
Right,
What-
right, right.
And
Got it.
so sometimes I'll say like,
Ah, well, I gotta lick my cat because he doesn't lick himself, and sometimes I get hairballs.
and this like that makes no sense. Who would ever do that? But the scammers will be like, oh
They
yeah,
love
I have to do that too because
Can you tell while you're
They
getting that
wanna-
ready? Can you tell the moment where a scammer knows they're in, that the door is opened, and that they're going to waste 2 days with you because they think the $300,000 is coming? Can you tell when that
When you
takes a
hook
turn?
the fish.
When it takes a turn, yeah. When you hook.
yeah, usually there's this pause after we show the fake bank account if there's a lot of money in it, and sometimes they'll go from being kind of angry and aggressive to, ma'am, you remind me so much of my grandmother. Like they
Oh.
kind of totally shift.
You hear it.
And they'll start asking me personal questions because they're thinking, oh, now I really need to like be friends with this person and make a connection because I need to take all of their money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kit, tell me,
It's
when you get the scammer
Yeah,
on the phone, which of your characters are you going to do?
Ooh, today, right now, I mean,
Yeah.
it can be anything. Who do you want to play?
I was going to base it off of whoever you decide you want to be.
Okay. I mean, I could try. You could teach me a new character. That's what
Ooh.
you should do.
Oh gosh,
You
what
don't
would
have
be
to.
fun? What would be fun?
Well, what would
If you
work?
if you do your old man guy, your Richard is what's
Yeah.
his last name?
Richard Andrews.
Andrews.
Is normally.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
Maureen Andrews, your wife.
You can do a female?
I'll be Maureen Andrews, the wife. Yeah,
Well, okay. All right.
yeah.
You sound a little older than him.
What? No, I
That's
don't.
fine.
No, I don't.
That's fine.
All right.
Where did we meet? Did we meet
High
when we
school.
were bowling?
High school.
High school. sweethearts.
We've been
Bowling high school.
Oh my God.
Been lovers since what date?
Okay.
What year would that be? That would be
High school?
Yeah.
1962.
1962.
wow.
I think we might need to be older than that. We might need to.
The high school that
normally
puts
tell-
us in our 70s, isn't it?
22.
That's
Yeah,
true.
22. Yeah, you're dead. You're deceased any older than that.
I got to go
It's
back
60
to high
years.
school. I can't do math that quickly.
Yeah.
Well, we see my needs people.
1962, we met in high school, and he was, oh my God, was he
So,
stunning.
what we'll probably do
Mhm.
is, if you're okay, one of the biggest scams right now. That's just I get them every single day submitted to me. I have them in my own email. You probably have them in your email, or someone there with you does, where they say something like you purchased Geek Squad or Norton
Right.
or some kind of antivirus,
Yes.
and they're giving you your money back, and you have to call because you want to get your money back.
Oh, sure.
So I have a bunch of those numbers.
Here we go.
All right. What give me,
just
just tell me what
sitting
we
there.
bought that we didn't buy.
Yes.
It's fascinating.
Oh, there's another one. Here's another one we could do too. This is probably the other really popular text scam. A message appears on your computer, and it says "Threat detected, Trojan." I say Trojan, Trojan spyware.
yes.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
And that maybe we'll do that one. That's kind of my.
That happens a lot. I mean,
so
that
the
happens
idea is-
often.
I don't know what to do. We were doing something on the computer,
Yeah.
and now this.
We're being threatened. We're being threatened.
While you're doing that, where are you looking
Yeah.
to find these? Where are you going to find the scams that you're reaching out to?
Yeah. So I get a lot of submissions from the community now.
Ah.
People will just say like, "Hey, my grandma got this email," or "I got this email this morning. You might find it interesting." I'm also on a lot of lists. So once you call a scammer, they end up calling you.
They're
a
like
lot,
tribbles.
basically.
They just they multiply.
Yeah. Well, this one didn't answer. The trouble is, normally I do this like before I would stream it live or something.
Yes.
I call the numbers ahead of time to see if they're actually open.
Ah,
But
sure. Sure.
We'll see if we get one more. If
All
not,
right.
we'll
I'm
try.
feeling
another
good about
time.
Yeah, this is
All
good.
circuits are busy now. Please
circuits
try
are
your
busy.
call again.
Wow.
Circuits are
Wow.
That's a scam.
okay. I'll
Wow.
let's see, maybe one more.
All right, one more. That's
You
all
guys
you get.
okay? You okay?
Yeah, one more.
All right. Again, this is going to be the one where they say that you purchased something like Geek Squad
Mm-hmm.
or Norton or something strange like that.
Okay. Hello.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, we just got an email from you saying we owe a bunch of money.
Can you hear me?
You sound kind of like a robot. I don't know.
Is he a robot?
Yeah, like what happened?
Richard, is he
this
a robot?
Geek Squad? I don't know, honey. I don't know.
Yes, it is Geek Squad.
We don't pay for Geek Squad, and we just got a bill.
Can you just confirm me the order ID number, product ID number?
I don't know. I can't.
What
I don't
is
have
he?
my glasses.
I don't see a number. All we had was a notification. I don't see a number.
Oh, it's right there. N47G.
Is that an N or a W?
It could be a 3.
Huh? Tell me your last name, your last name.
He wants your last name.
Oh, Andrews. Are we in your system or not?
We have to be in their system. They sent us a notification.
You just hold on. You need to give me a moment, okay?
You know what? I don't know about this. This could be one of those. This could be one of those things on Facebook, you know, Maureen. It could be one of those fake things.
Well, how would they know to even have our address? I don't.
Do you know our address?
He's not answering.
Here.
Yes, of course we're here. We need your help.
And we are going to help out, okay? But right now the problem is that we found that like there is a subscription which has been activated for 5 years, which has been cost you the $500.
$500.
So do you want to continue that?
I don't know if we're going to be around for another
He
5
wants
years.
5 years. Well, it's going to take 5 years to resolve this. I don't have 5 years.
Yeah, we're down to. We're not buying family packs anymore. We don't even buy a full loaf of bread these days. We do the half loaf. I don't know about.
Tell me, do you have any computer? Just be in front of it, okay? So we can solve this problem right now.
We can solve it right now. That's what he said. Solve it. Go ahead.
We don't have a. Do we have a computer?
Yes, we. What is wrong with you? My God, we were notified on the machine. The machine sent us.
God, it's right in front of me.
Oh, for God's sake!
Let me just say for a
Sorry about
second,
the
guys.
quality.
Let me just say I need a second to compose myself because that felt like visiting my grandparents during my childhood. My entire childhood was that.
You know, I gotta say, Kit, we got a new sitcom.
Scamming scammers. I think I'm out, Laurie. I think Peter Tilden is out.
The Technophobe, starring Kitboga and Jason Alexander.
What do you think, kid? You like the double team feeling better? Does it make you happier?
It is fun because it creates a world for me too. So a lot of times it's just me and the scammer, and like in improv, it's what is it? Yes and.
Right.
I've never taken any formal training, but I know enough.
That's clear.
To say
I
yes
understand.
and.
Yeah. There are things you don't have to tell us, kid. It's okay.
but the scammers, they think it's real life.
Sure.
And so like sometimes I'm giving them a lot to work with. You know, I'm making up whole stories. I got a whole universe, and they won't give me anything back. So having a guest, well, now I could just have
Listen,
thank you for doing that.
Hey, listen, can I ask one or two questions before you go? To your knowledge, have you ever been part of putting someone away, or you know, have you ever made a victim whole as a result of your work?
Yeah. So there actually one thing that's been happening, going back to that kind of AI Gauntlet thing that I was talking about. These scammers are calling in thinking that they're getting Bitcoin. They think that if they call the automated phone line, they'll be able to transfer the money to their Bitcoin wallet. And we purposely make it so that system can't understand what they're saying. So even if we do understand what they're saying, the AI will talk back and say, like, it'll just get confused.
Right.
And we did that for fun because we thought it was funny. But then one day, all of a sudden, we listen to these calls. There's an older woman on the phone here in the US. And we're like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would some old lady be calling asking? And she was even saying, I want to get my Bitcoin stock. Like, what? Bitcoin stock? And so it turns out one of the scammers told her, well, if you call this number, she had lost a bunch of money from them. We're giving you this money back. Because they were fed up trying to claim their Bitcoin, and they thought the system couldn't understand. And it turns out this lady had been scammed 6-7 years by these guys. Had no idea what was going on. So we were able to like talk to her, have some people locally come and help her. And now financially, it's difficult because you have to have like law enforcement or different people actually vet all of the history of 7 years and go through. It's complicated. But this has now happened, I want to say, maybe a dozen times in the past couple months of these people calling in this hotline that are victims, and then we're able to
that's
call
amazing.
them.
When I get something, when I get a spam message and I hit block and report spam, does that actually help, or am I just wasting my time? No, I'm serious.
Well, from a software engineer's perspective, you probably are training some AI somewhere to help be more effective.
Wow.
So you might have,
Your training course.
All right.
Weird question for you.
You did your part.
Knowing that these are scammers, but also knowing the gig economy is hurting people and a lot more people are hurting and are looking for a way to make a living. So there's this desperation. Have you ever connected with a scammer where you felt any kind of emotional thing, where you felt bad for the scammer or connected with them in a way that you wanted to actually reach out to them and maybe find out what's going on there, or it doesn't never get that deep?
Yeah. No, there has been quite a few times, quite a bit back in the day. I say back in the day, like this was back in my day.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I would do what I call revealing. So I would be playing a grandpa character, and then all of a sudden I would say, it's me. I got you. Like, you wasted 4 days, right? The gig is up. And sometimes that would lead into some kind of heartfelt moments or some conversation, because I could say, what are you doing? Why are you spending? And I would get into I don't really do that anymore. I'll talk about why in a minute if you want to know. But the heartfelt conversation sometimes would come out because they would say, well, it's really hard to feed my family, or I can't find any other job, or whatever excuse. And sometimes they would say, like, I'm really trying here. I feel bad about it. I don't want to scam people. But so the first few times that happened, I would kind of be like, man, this is just a sucky situation all around. But then I started piecing all the stories together and realizing, oh my goodness, sometimes these scammers say that as another scam.
Yeah, it's part two.
Because they ask money at the end.
Yeah.
They're like, don't you feel bad for me?
Yeah.
Give me money. But there have been a few times. I remember one guy in particular, if you remember the IRS scams that were really big.
Yeah.
3-4 years ago. I was doing a bunch of calls one day of these IRS scammers, and one guy answered the phone. He says, hello, like, IRS, how can I help you? I'm like, I'm so scared. I think I'm going to prison. And he said, sir, this is a scam. Just hang up. And I remember being like, what? Like, why is this guy? And so I asked him, and he said, I don't want to do this. This call isn't recorded. I'm just telling everyone to hang up, and I'm collecting my paycheck. Wow. And I remember like, whoa.
Wow.
Good for that guy. I don't know how true it was.
Very fascinating. But, hey, do you hang out with any of the other scammers?
Yeah,
the scammers
guys who do what you do.
Who do it, yeah.
Is there a community? Can you
not the scammer bar?
You meet at the bar and go, how was your day? Anything like that?
Yeah. I know a handful of them. Like Jim Browning, for example, is another well-known guy. He's been doing it longer than I have. A lot of really educational, really
Is
great.
that his real name, by the
work.
way? Jim Brown? That's his real name?
It's an alias, I'm
Okay.
sure. Because he for him, like he can just straight up hack these guys, and so he's doing things that are a little bit different. So we do we meet up at bars and hang out regularly? No, but there is a community of scam baiters and people who volunteer and people who try to help, and because there's so much that happens behind the scenes too,
Right.
that like even the reporting of this stuff or trying to help victims or whatever it is. He talked about why you need a manager.
Yeah.
Like there's literally people right now calling scammers, calling that automated system. And yesterday on a Sunday, there were 2 people here in the US calling that are victims. And now we got to try to reach out to them and try to help.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you
Hey,
for
Kit,
coming on.
is this your full-time job now? Is this how you make your living?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it sort of off the Twitch streaming revenue kind of thing, or?
It's grown, and most of it is actually off of like the corporate kind of business sponsorship things.
Really?
Like YouTube
wow.
sponsors,
Wow.
or just there's been some really cool companies that have come alongside to just kind of blanket sponsor everything
And help facilitate. Wow, that's
And-
great. Cool.
Yeah,
Good
which
for you,
means
man.
hire
Dude,
people
listen,
and-
I will tell you, if this doesn't work out, I do think you have a future in my world. I really do.
Oh,
I think our
thank you.
sitcom is viable, and when the strike is over, I'm going to go pitch it.
He's pitching already. I'm out. I'm out.
Absolutely,
I'm out.
right?
I'm out.
We worked on.
I mean,
but
I
congrats.
would be honored.
Well, God, thank you for this work. I mean, you're having fun, and you're making a living doing it. But
Hopefully it
boy, you're doing God's work.
Hopefully it helps.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm just a small sample, and I don't fall for it, but I can certainly imagine people who can get ruined by this kind of thing.
And
The
if they
fact
see
that
you
you're
doing
pushing
this,
back.
hopefully it deters. There's an awareness of people listening.
Right.
Go, oh my God, I just had that happen to me. You subscribe at Kitboga Show on Twitter at Kitboga, and he's on Twitch and he's on TikTok. And thank you for coming on. Thanks
Yeah.
for your time, man.
Thank you. Yeah. No, that was a ton of fun. I feel like there's so much to talk about and so many characters to play.
Oh, yeah.
So if you guys
We'll develop.
if you ever
We'll
do
develop.
want to call some scammers, let me know.
Well, you guys have time without me to develop the sitcom.
Yeah, no, we have time. We have time. You keep doing the podcast.
Ownership. I have ownership. All right. Thank you, Kit.
Thank you.
Thank
All
him,
right, brother.
Thank
Take
him for
care.
calling me,
Be
too.
well.
It was nice that he
Yeah.
got me prepped, so take care.
Take care.
Yeah.
By the way, first off, let me just say, you're not bad at acting. I was pushing you, but that was pretty fast.
Thank you. Without benefit of groundling training or anything like that.
The only
Jumping
thing,
into character.
The only thing that I will reveal to the listening
I have
audience
a lot of characters.
and viewing audience,
Yeah.
that was a cheat, that character.
That's my mother.
That's your mother, because I know your mother.
My mother is not that whiny. I
No,
always,
and your mother's a
You know,
lower?
my mother, this is the truth. We are recording this, everybody, on August 28th, right? And my mother passed away on this day.
No.
Yes.
So that was like an
6
honor
years
to
ago.
her.
And my mother would always say to me, "I don't sound like that. I don't sound like that." And I go, "No, you're right, but I make you funnier."
Can I tell the one little thing aside about your mother?
Which one?
Restaurants.
No.
Okay. All right. Moving on. So it's funny that we're talking about scams. The big HBO series is Telemarketers, which is, if you haven't seen it, you should
And
watch
I have
it.
not in all
Because it shows these rooms where these people are just reaching out, and now they're doing CPACs. They're doing political. They're faking people calling, saying they're a political PAC, and lying and taking all of the money. Wow. Because of the HBO show, they opened an investigation into that company, and I think these guys got fined an enormous amount of money. But you're talking about tens of millions of dollars. They're calling, saying they're fraternal order of police, etc.
Well, can I just ask? I mean, I know this. I don't want to be indelicate about this, but when I watched some of his Twitch stuff, and today, everybody that I've seen him talk to has some sort of Indian or that region of the world accent. Is that because they come here and there's just not a lot of work opportunity, or are they
There are
using
some countries,
phone banks
countries
there, or are they-
a lot of them are countries that are poverty stricken, and
because
and they use that.
legitimately, I noticed that too. If I call actual tech support or customer support,
It's
sometimes it's
outsourced.
sourced out, and I'll hear that accent as well. So I'm not, I don't
A
mean
lot
to
of the
be
countries that are
derogatory, but-
impoverished, they do this, and because it's an easy scam to do. You just need a phone You need a list, and it's there. And that was one of the pushbacks on revenge scamming, where they're saying it can be racist because it appears that you're targeting certain groups of people or certain countries, whatever. So there's that. There's the overstepping of the laws. What do you do? Why not you just turn them in, et cetera?
Yeah.
Because other countries, like you said, Browning in Britain, can do different stuff that he can't do. In some countries, you can do revenge.
Well, that's the other thing. I would imagine if I wanted to create a scam ring like this, I would outsource it to places where I don't think the law could touch the actual people that are doing it. So
or even track them down.
Yeah.
Do you know what a brushing scam? This is the newest thing. I think Laurie had this happen. Our producer Laurie. Do you know what the brushing scam is? Brushing scam is when you get packages delivered to your house from Amazon that you didn't order, and they're usually lightweight. They don't cost much, and you get to keep them because the law says they're yours. These third parties, sometimes it's a legitimate company that's sending it to you so they can then say they got their sales orders up, etc. Number two, though, if you accept it, they know somebody's there, they know who that is, they know what you've done, and now you're on a list, a mailing list for more scams. It's a way for them to test whether you returned it or not. I mean, there's so many layers now. You go,
I'm sending back the scarf. I'm sending back anybody listening, I'm sending back the scarf.
And then there's the other part of this, which is revenge. Why do we do revenge? I looked up a lot of studies that said immediately after you do revenge, it feels good, but there's remorse after the fact. That humans
Well, is what he's doing revenge, or is
it is revenge?
How do you
it is
feel?
revenge.
It's vengeance. That's
it's vengeance.
Because he's going after people that have been scammed.
And revenge through society came up to keep society in order. You retaliate against somebody who's done your small group wrong, to show the group that in the future you're not going to put up with that stuff. But today, when it's remote and you're not affected by it face to face, what's the revenge hit that we're getting as far as the endorphin?
Well, he's what Kid is doing, and I get it, because it really is like the phony phone calls we did as a kid, which we're wasting somebody's time. It's you're goofing on somebody, and because it gives you a sense of, I know what I'm doing, I'm in on the joke, this person's not. There is something about it's that thing where when you were a kid, if you weren't the one being bullied, but you were in the group, you felt somehow safe and superior. And young people make that mistake all the time of going, well, I wasn't doing it, I wasn't the bully, but you weren't stopping it.
Bingo.
And you were participating even in silence. And why do we do that? And I think it's because in that moment you do feel empowered, you feel part of a community, you have power and purpose, and there's somebody who's taking the brunt of it, and it's not you, and it's a little bit of that schadenfreude kind of thing.
These scammers against scammers is growing because people feel government's not doing anything, it's so pervasive. The tech world isn't doing anything, so screw it. I'll do that. By the way, there are scams that we're okay with when you think about it. We live with scams all the time. College book scam, where you pay a fortune for the college books that you need. Insurance scam. You pay every day for your insurance for your car, then you have a little fender bender, and they raise your rate. And health insurance, they hire people to turn down your claim and say why you're ineligible for that drug. But you've been paying all along.
Well, the scams that I liked more, and this is not my observation, I think it may have been Robert Klein who did this thing about, you pay more for an unlisted number. And he called and he said, what's that? And he goes, labor. I go, what are you, you employing somebody to run around and erase my number out of the phone book?
Another scam.
What are you talking about? It used to be, there's a thing now where if you, no, not now because they fixed it, but it used to be if you checked your own items at the supermarket.
They charge you?
Yeah, there was they charged you because you weren't letting the...
How about a sharing charge? You go to a restaurant and you say, I'm going to split this. And they go, we got to add $5.
And I was just in New Jersey. I had to gas up my rental car. You're not allowed to pump your own gas in New Jersey. You're not allowed to pump your own... Really? No, really. You're not allowed to pump your own gas. A guy came out and said, can I help you? I went, no.
Is that because, wait, rightly so, is that because they feel New Jerseyans are not capable? Or what's it?
Let's
go to Guggenheim. Let's go to Guggenheim to wrap this thing up. David Guggenheim, what do you got?
Yes, well, New Jersey is one of the only, I believe actually New Jersey is the last state in the country
where you can't pump your own gas.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. Why?
It's a job creating.
Okay. All right.
All the good gas pumping jobs.
Do you have to tip?
Yes,
you have to tip the guy?
Well, you want to call the tipping expert we spoke to? Yes, you got to give him a tip. You got to give him a buck, something.
A buck.
You know,
he'll siphon the stuff out. Yeah. What else you got?
Well, before we go on, I just want to make sure: is my camera running?
Yes.
Well, why don't you go outside and catch it?
What just
All
happened?
right, we got to go.
What
Somebody's
happened?
at the door.
What
We got to
just
get out.
happened?
I don't know. I don't
What
know.
just
I think he bought a joke book online or something. I don't know what happened. Either that or did you have a stroke? What are you doing, David? What
No,
just
I'm
happened?
just saying you're talking about old scams. So the old scam you used to call
is
up
my
the
camera?
neighbor.
Yeah. Do you have Prince
You're ready to
Machiavelli in a
run
can? We'll let him out, for God's sake, you suffer. Okay, I get it. I
You
get
should
it.
do it this way. No, I don't have them. You should answer the way with your mother.
right.
All right, David. We're hitting home runs, baby.
Yeah, I know. That's it for me. See
Wow,
ya.
that was the prep.
Yeah.
He said, I can't talk now. I'm prepping for the show. That was it.
Yeah.
I had prep. I actually looked into the early days of vigilantism in this country.
Oh.
And you know what? It's really dark. I'll give
I was
you
going to
just
say,
a
for a
little-
comedy podcast, it's going to go
It's-
very
We're doing
dark
a whole
all of a sudden.
episode just on
Yeah.
vigilantes.
Yeah, the vigilante thing is real. I'll tell you what. One of the there was something called the vigilante committees. This was something in the 1700s that
boy.
became very popular throughout the entire country. One of the heads of one of the committees his name was Colonel Charles Lynch.
Sure.
Oh boy. It's great, David.
I think you could see.
Yeah, we want to go
where it came from?
You know what the
Is that
rule
where
is
it
always
derived
here?
from?
I don't know if you know our rule.
Yeah.
Rule is always go out in a high.
Yeah. Charles
Right,
Lynch.
right.
Well, he
Charles
must be
Lynch.
proud.
Or lynching. Or lynching. I
Yeah.
don't know. One
Yeah.
of the two.
Wow.
One of the two. There you go.
Wow and wow.
That's like
That's why I went with a joke. That's
Here's
why I
my
went with
here's
a
my
joke.
question about vigilantes and revenge and all that stuff. When did it change where you have to be a septuagenarian to be a really good revenge taker? Because according to the movies,
Clint Eastwood?
well, Clint
Liam
Eastwood,
Neeson.
watch out, Liam Neeson, Denzel Washington, even Keanu Reeves is, he's pushing it. He's in his 50s now. I'm going, when it used to be, even Charles Bronson in Death Wish,
Was older.
he was not a young, spry guy.
Yeah, now it's I'm coming to get you. Give me a hand.
Liam Neeson walks in, I give him a Nilla wafer and a cup of tea. Am I really worried about
There's
this?
a new Taken coming out. It's called Taken 8, and Leeson says, keep it. Just keep it.
Yeah, keep it.
I got leg cramps. I
or,
can't
or,
go now.
or it's what is really called Taking 8, I'm taking the money. That's what it's called.
Taken 8. I have leg cramps. Do you have a beverage? Do you have any kind of beverage or something? A banana. I need some potassium.
We have your granddaughter. I have a granddaughter? I mean, that's what...
Call somebody else. Call Clint Eastwood. Maybe he'll be. And Clint Eastwood's going, I'm sitting in a comfortable chair. I'm not getting up right now.
Yeah,
You can keep
I have
it
a
too.
particular set of skills. I can't
All right,
remember what they are.
so final thoughts?
I like what the man does. I really do. It is, I'm on the fence a little bit because it's a little childish, but to the extent that he is making victims whole and that he is aiding law enforcement in finding out who these guys are, because they're all breaking the law. That's the long and short of it. We call them scammers. We have all kinds of names. They're criminals. If it's like, and I don't care how desperate they are. If they go, I was really desperate, that's why I broke into your house, and cleaned you out. I like what he's doing. I think it's.
May I say what's adorable? And I will wrap this up, but I got to say how adorable it is, and this is why he's my best friend. I've done interviews for a long time on the radio, so I've interviewed a ton of people who do amazing things, remarkable stuff, weird stuff.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of new to you, when we have on somebody who does gene editing or like this guy, you're doing God's work. You're doing amazing stuff. I'm so much more cynical. Not that he's not doing interesting stuff, but I always parse it with, you found a scammer, call the FBI, report him, and they'll go after him, get the money. Yet he's making, and I'm not saying it's negative what he's doing. It's just, I always reserve, before I go, sir, I'm putting all my money and investing in what you're doing to help. There are still questions for me about
he's
the
also
whole thing.
making a living.
He's making probably a better living than scammers.
Right.
But he could be donated. I'm not saying there's anything negative. I'm just a little bit more reserved with you're doing God's work than you are. But you have I guess when you do so many of these, you lose your innocence just a bit.
Well, I will always say for anybody that winds up doing anything, I'll tell you why. You know how many people have come to me and said, you're an angel on God's. I go, I'm just doing a sitcom. I'm just doing a play. I'm just doing a thing.
But you bring
and they
joy.
go, but you're touching me. You're giving me my. So he's doing the same thing. He's just doing what he does. But what he does winds up benefiting people and helping people.
And by the way, speaking of benefiting, if you do the sitcom, they were all part of it. Everything. The other room, we all get a piece.
I also want to know, if I go to the DeVry Institute for the 2-week course, am I able to do what he's doing? He's making fake banks. He's got a computer and a computer. He's got a link to a chain, to a thing, to a fake phone system.
You and I, when we see Printer needs toner. We go, I'm out.
I'm out.
Just buying
I
a
call
new
my
printer. I'm buying a
assistant.
new printer.
Right.
Call somebody.
Absolutely.
Call my manager. All right, and this has been another episode of Really No Really. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
As another episode of Really No Really comes to a close, I bet you're wondering what the top 5 scams are. Well, I'll tell you in a moment, but first I'd like to thank our guest Kitboga. He's on twitch.tv/Kitboga, at Kitboga Show on YouTube, and at The Kitboga Show on TikTok. You can find us online at reallynoreally.com. We're also on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Threads at Really No Really Podcast. Hit that subscribe button and tick that bell so you're updated when we release new videos. If you have a Really No Really, let us know, and if we use it, we may send you something amazing, like a signed picture of Peter, I don't know. And thank you for listening, subscribing, and sharing the show. We release new episodes of Really No Really every Tuesday, so make sure to follow us on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, some of the top 5 scams. The cryptocurrency romance scam, the student loan forgiveness scam, the fake antivirus software scam, the classic Nigerian prince scam, and the free gift QR code scam. And as I have yet to get a check for this gig, I'm just going to go ahead and add the paid podcast announcer scam, about which I will be calling my agent. Really No Really is a production of iHeartRadio and Blase Entertainment.